There's a quiet assumption that floats through modern dating, through movies, through late-night conversations between friends, that men are primarily visual creatures, that attraction is a simple equation of symmetry, style, or silhouette. That if you just look a certain way, dress a certain way, or present yourself in a specific package, the rest will follow. But human connection doesn't work like a vending machine. You don't insert the right appearance and get love out the other end. What actually moves men, what truly lingers in their nervous systems, what makes them lean in, what makes them remember you long after you've left the room is rarely about perfection. It's about presence. It's about the small, almost invisible gestures that signal safety, authenticity, and emotional availability. It's about the things you do without even realizing you're doing them. Think about it. How many times have you heard a man say, "I don't know why, but something about her just gets me," or "It wasn't anything she said, it was just how she made me feel"? That something is rarely a grand gesture. It's rarely a carefully planned moment. It's almost always a micro behavior, a habit, a reflex of comfort, a whisper of vulnerability, a touch that lingers half a second longer than necessary, a laugh that isn't performed for an audience but just escapes because she's genuinely enjoying the moment. These are the things that bypass the logical brain and speak directly to the emotional core. They're the things that make a man feel seen, not just looked at. Wanted, not just wanted. Chosen, not just available. Now, before we go further, let's clear something up. This isn't a playbook. This isn't a list of tricks to make him fall for you. If you approach these behaviors as performance, they'll fall flat. Men can sense authenticity from a mile away. What we're exploring today isn't manipulation, it's observation, it's understanding the quiet, often unspoken language of attraction. It's recognizing that some of the most powerful things a woman can do aren't about changing who she is, they're about allowing who she already is to be fully visible. Some of these habits are deeply biological. They tap into evolutionary wiring around touch, safety, and bonding. Others are psychological. They speak to the modern male experience, the pressure to always initiate, the fear of being too much or not enough, the longing to be trusted with someone's softness. And some are simply cultural, the unspoken rules of how we show care, how we claim space, how we signal interest without saying a word. What you're about to hear are 20 of those quiet signals, 20 things women do, often completely unconsciously, that men secretly adore. Some will surprise you. Some will make you nod and say, "Oh, I do that." Some might make you realize you've been holding back parts of yourself that are actually deeply attractive. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about recognizing the parts of you that are already magnetic. It's about understanding why certain gestures land the way they do. And it's about giving yourself permission to stop overthinking, stop performing, and start simply being. So whether you're listening on your morning walk, during your evening wind down, or in that quiet space between sleep and waking, settle in, breathe. Let go of the need to get it right. Because what makes you lovable was never about perfection. It was always about presence. Let's begin. There's a specific kind of silence that happens when a woman rests her head on a man's chest. It's not just physical proximity. It's a surrender of posture, a softening of shoulders, a quiet trust that says, "I feel safe enough to stop holding myself up for a moment." Think about the last time you saw a couple on a couch or in bed, or even just sitting on a park bench. She shifts slightly, leans into him, and lets her head settle against his chest. His arm naturally wraps around her, his breathing slows, and something in the room changes. The air gets heavier, but in a good way. Like the world just exhaled. Why does this land so deeply for men? On a neurological level, the chest is a zone of vulnerability. It's where the heart beats. It's where breath lives. When someone rests their head there, they're literally aligning their nervous system with yours. They're syncing with your rhythm. And for a man who is often conditioned to be the protector, the anchor, the steady one, this gesture is a quiet confirmation that he's succeeding at that role. Not because he's doing anything grand, but simply because he's present. Psychologically, it's one of the few moments in modern dating where a man gets to experience being a sanctuary. Not a problem solver, not a planner, not a performer, just a place where someone can rest. That's rare. And it's deeply fulfilling. I remember a friend telling me about a moment early in his relationship. They'd had a long day, nothing dramatic, just work, traffic, the usual noise. They sat on the floor of his apartment, leaning against the sofa, scrolling through nothing in particular. Without a word, she shifted, rested her head on his chest, and let out a long breath. He said he didn't move for 20 minutes, not because he was trapped, but because he didn't want to break the spell. It was like she handed me a piece of her peace, he told me, and I got to hold it. Now let's talk about the misconceptions. Some women worry this makes them look needy or dependent, but there's a massive difference between dependency and comfort. Dependency says, I can't function without you. Comfort says, I function fine on my own, but I choose to soften with you. Men can feel that distinction instantly. One feels like a weight. The other feels like a gift. How to embrace it naturally. Don't force it. Don't script it. Let it happen when the moment feels right. Maybe you're watching a movie. Maybe you're talking late at night. Maybe you're just sitting in comfortable silence. When you feel that urge to lean in, let yourself. Don't overthink the angle. Don't worry about your hair. Don't calculate how it looks. Just let your body find its natural resting place. And if you're a man listening to this, notice how you respond. Do you stiffen? Do you subtly shift away? Or do you let yourself receive it? Sometimes the most attractive thing a man can do is simply stay still and let himself be a place of rest. This gesture isn't about romance in the cinematic sense. It's about biology meeting emotion. It's about two nervous systems saying, we're okay, we're together, we can stop fighting for a minute. And in a world that never stops asking us to perform, to prove, to push, that kind of quiet surrender is one of the most powerful things a woman can offer, and one of the most deeply loved things a man can receive. Touch is a language, and hair is one of its most intimate dialects. When a woman gently runs her fingers through a man's hair, something shifts in his posture. His shoulders drop, his eyes close, even if just for a second. His breathing deepens. It's almost reflexive, like a switch flipping from alert to at ease. Why? Because hair is deeply personal. It's tied to identity, to grooming, to how we present ourselves to the world. Most men are careful about it. They style it. They protect it. They don't let just anyone touch it. So when you do, and when he allows it, it's a silent signal of trust. It says, I'm comfortable enough with you to let my guard down. I'm safe enough to be touched without flinching. But it's not just about trust. It's about sensation. The scalp is rich with nerve endings. Gentle stroking triggers the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It lowers cortisol. It slows the heart rate. It's literally a physiological calm down signal. And when it comes from someone you're attracted to, it's amplified. It's not just relaxation, it's connection. Think about childhood. How many of us remember a parent's hand brushing through our hair when we were sick or scared or falling asleep? That touch wasn't romantic. It was nurturing. It was safety. And as adults, we rarely get to experience that kind of touch unless we're in a deeply secure relationship. So when a woman offers it, it taps into something primal. It says, you don't have to carry everything right now. Just be here. I've got you. Now let's address the awkwardness some women feel. What if I mess up his style? What if he thinks I'm being too forward? What if he doesn't like it? Here's the truth. If he's interested in you, he'll love it. If he pulls away or tenses up, that's your answer. But most men who are emotionally available will melt into it because it's rare, because it's gentle, because it asks for nothing in return. How to do it naturally. Start light. Don't grab. Don't tug. Let your fingers glide like you're tracing a familiar path. Follow the natural direction of his hair. Pay attention to his response. If he leans in, keep going. If he shifts, adjust. It's a conversation without words. And the beauty is, you don't need to say anything. Your hands are already speaking. There's also a psychological layer here. Men are often starved for non-sexual, non-performance-based touch. We live in a culture where male touch is either competitive, sports, handshakes, backslaps, or sexual. Rarely is it just tender. Rarely is it allowed to be soft without an agenda. So when a woman offers this kind of touch, it's revolutionary. It says, you're allowed to be gentle. You're allowed to be cared for. You're allowed to just receive. I've heard men describe it as coming home. Not to a place, to a feeling. The feeling of being held without being fixed. The feeling of being touched without being used. The feeling of being seen. Not as a provider, not as a protector, but as a person. And that's the secret. It's not about the hair. It's about what the hair represents. It's about permission to stop holding the weight of the world for just a few minutes. So if you find yourself wanting to do it. Don't overthink it. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is the one where you both happen to be close enough, quiet enough, and present enough to let it happen. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can give someone isn't a grand gesture. It's a quiet touch. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can receive is the courage to let yourself be touched.